Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Evil Tiki here, and welcome to the Main Street Cinema, the show where I like to indulge in the more artistic side of my filmmaking tastes. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Oh, do you like my ever-flowing long Jake Gyllenhaal beard that I have assembled for you dear fellows tonight? This is the closest I could get to replicating the Jake Gyllenhaal enemy look. So we got the devil horns just because that's kind of just symbolic, and then we got. I wish we could get kind of these darker tinted on the glasses because Jake Gyllenhaal does kind of go around wearing sunglasses the whole movie, but the beard does look like a Gyllenhaal beard, so I'll give it that. Props, Google Plus. This is like the first time I'm kind of trying out this shit. Like, oh yeah. Look at me, I'm a devil with a ukulele, oh, oh, and I'm Jake Gyllenhaal, Devil with a ukulele, folks. Hashtag that shit. Alright, but anyways, what the hell are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we're going to talk about a pair of very interesting movies that kind of came out, like, right on top of each other in a way. These movies are Enemy and The Double. Now, Enemy is directed by Dennis, God knows, I do not know how to pronounce his last name, and no one else does either. Let's see if I were to take a stab at it. It'd probably be Villeneuve? Like, honestly, that's like my best shot, man. I tried. I gave it my tiki all, god damn it. But, this guy is pretty important because he actually directed my number 3 favorite movie of last year, which was the terrifyingly intense kidnapping thriller, what was it called? Prisoners. That's not really a good sign if I don't remember the name of it, but I don't know, but I digress. This guy has made quite a few foreign movies that I have not seen. Some of those include, let's see, Polytechnique, Incendious, Maelstrom, August 23rd on Earth, and I believe that's it. I really need to check in and look into some of this guy's work because just based on Enemy and Prisoners alone, I got to admit this guy is like one of my favorite directors. Like just kind of up and coming, like. He's got 2 really good English language films out. If his foreign language stuff is like Guillermo del Toro levels of like, holy crap, this guy has just been making great films for years and we just haven't even been noticing. You know what I mean? If we go back and watch and some of it's kind of like Devil's Backbone quality or something like that, then yeah, I think we really need to pay some attention to this guy. Say what you will about Prisoners. I think Enemy is a far more engaging movie on sort of a pacing level, on sort of visceral level. It's kind of far less depressing, but it's definitely got this sort of eerie atmosphere going on throughout the whole thing. Now, the one common trait that these 2 movies have is that they both contain doppelganger characters of one another. So Jake Gyllenhaal is encountering another bearded, evil-looking Jake Gyllenhaal, and and he's just like, what the hell, man? Like, I just can't sleep at night. Like, I just gotta know. So Jake Gyllenhaal, he just becomes wrapped up and obsessed with other evil actor Jake Gyllenhaal, and it just becomes this whole big mess involving a lot of spiders and. Now, The Double, on the other hand, this one kind of caught me off guard, and I really liked it for a couple reasons. The director, Richard Ayoade, I'll admit I haven't seen his feature-length film, which was, I think it was called Submarine. I'll have to go back and see that. I have watched a lot of his TV stuff. Mostly, I saw him on The Mighty Boosh, which he was great in, and I saw pretty much all of Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is an awesome, underrated show. If you guys haven't seen that yet, it's pretty spectacular. Let's see, anything else that guy's done. He's done quite a few substantial Vampire Weekend music videos, and that's one of my favorite bands, so kudos there. But this guy, he's just got this really interesting style to him, and it's like, I kind of equate him to something like a Mike Judge or a Terry Gilliam, where, I don't know, he's just got this very peculiar, very unique view on the world, and it's just, he just puts up, you know, how he feels on the screen, and it's kind of like, it's quite fascinating. I'm kind of digging it so far. It's very much like this movie, it kind of brought to mind other maybe better movies. Like, I don't know, like it kind of brought to mind Her, just in the sense of like, it's kind of a bleaker version of Her in that, I don't know, Her's not really a good comparison because there's no real, like, you know, artificial, gimmicky love interest. The love interest in this is actually very interesting, but, oh god, where to start? So basically, with The Double, Jesse Eisenberg proves that he can play Lex Luthor, and I don't care. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All you haters of Eisenberg out there, I said it right when Man of Steel came out. I said it when he was announced. This guy is perfect for this role. I cannot wait to see what he does with it. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? Go see The Double. Because trust me, The Double is just Eisenberg acting at his full caliber. He's funny. He's absolutely depressing. He's downright maniacal and sinister and freaking evil, all in the same movie. It's amazing. It's like, I know he's probably not going to get any sort of Oscar consideration whatsoever, but I don't know. That's sad because it was just a damn good performance, man. But so let's see. I guess how to compare these two movies. I mean, oddly enough, they're both based on books called The Double, but the books that they're based on really couldn't be less alike, because The Double that Mr. Prisoners over here, Dennis, decided to base his on is this is a more recent novel by Mr. Jose Saramaga. I'm sorry if I'm getting that name wrong. I believe this is a Spanish language novel where essentially what goes on is kind of the main thing that happens in this movie, where, you know, we got the history teacher character coming into conflict with the actor character for essentially thinking that they're like the same person, or if not the same person, just like, what the hell is going on? What's with this, you know, coincidence? Like, I gotta know, man. I just gotta know. So Enemy is more about obsession. Like, Enemy is just more about like letting your own mind kind of get the better of you. The Double, on the other hand, this is based on a Dostoevsky work, so I don't know. It's like the story in itself isn't quite as complex, but oh man, I feel like there's some real social issues just like brimming at the surface of this thing that I can't wait to analyze. Okay, so number one, right away, I was just absolutely delighted when Wallace Shawn came on screen, and he was like, Stanley, you're not working hard enough. Why do I even hire you, Stanley? Why do I even keep you here? And that's what he does throughout the whole movie. Wallace Shawn is just there to be Wallace Shawn, and he's amazing, and he's inconceivable. And Andre, I love my electric blanket. All right, enough of the Wallace Shawn. Is this facial hair distracting enough for you? Oh God, I think it's sexy on me. Leave a comment if you think the facial hair is a good touch. I don't know. I'm just trying to spice up the theatricality of these live shows a little bit. Okay, so let's see. What else to compare? I guess the love stories, which I definitely think The Double does better. Because, I don't know, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Enemy is not meant to be like a feel-good, sappy love story. In fact, it's meant to give you that kind of, like, caving in, like, oh, man, like, this guy is in the middle of just a bad, kind of ugly relationship, you know, personally, and there's just no way he's going to get out of it. And that's really kind of the end of the movie. I'm not going to go out of my way to spoil anything. So yeah, if I accidentally leak something out, then I'm sorry, but it's like, the end of the movie is Jake Gyllenhaal's realization that he's basically stuck in the situation that he's in. That's not really a spoiler for those of you who actually know what the ending of the movie is. There's, oh god, there is a big layer of context behind it all, and a big layer of symbolism, as Film Brain would put it, but you'll just have to watch the movie to find out. So let's see, like, I feel like, I don't know, they're both very odd, because the double, like, on the surface, it's kind of like a punch-drunk love. Like, it's kind of just like, oh, look, it's these two oddball, quirky characters who, you know, are just very obviously kind of outcasted and lonely in society, and they're coming together through, you know, the fate of true love and whatever. But I don't know. Man, Ayoade. I'm sorry, guy. I really, really respect the hell out of you, but I don't know quite how to pronounce your last name. Richard Ayoade. He just went darker than I expected him to, man, and I'm not even sure how I feel about it. So here's the thing. While Enemy just promotes basically loveless marriages and that there's just no hope, and the situation that you get yourself in is just kind of gonna overwhelm you and consume you, and I don't know. I don't want to touch too much on it without giving too much away, but the double, on the other hand, oh god, it's got this weird overlying subtext of suicide, which I'm sure is in the Dostoevsky stuff, but I must say, man, as a oh boy, as someone who suffers pretty severe social anxiety, yeah, this was kind of a tough watch at some points. I guess I mean that in the best way possible, because holy shit. Okay, Eisenberg. Like I said, just watch this movie. He is the most insecure motherfucker I have ever seen on film. Like, he gets the whole social anxiety thing down better than anything I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, I'm not kidding you. Like, the anxiety and just the, like, this kid, you totally just you know, just feel like he's gonna throw up at any moment. So it's, you know, so just right away you just get into this character Simon's head, you know, and of course Wallace Shawn is yelling at you, and that's never good because, oh, you don't, oh, Andre, and yeah. I apologize. Wallace Shawn just made me so excited. His presence is just always just like, oh, it's him. I am a fanboy for the man. All right, so, but the double, the main love interest is Mia Wasikowska. I hope I'm saying that right. Everyone knows her as Alice from Burton's Alice in Wonderland. And to tell you the truth, yeah, she was horrible there. I actually really loved her performance in The Kids Are All Right. So if you like that movie, then I think you'll like her in this too, because she plays like a, oh, I don't know. There's a lot of allegories to Pinocchio. There's a lot of just, oh, it's weird, man. It's weird. Parts of it remind me of a movie like Magnolia, where there's just all these different plot lines that are happening. Kind of like a main theme is kind of just connecting everything back to like the, you know, just a basic rooted idea of, ooh, excuse my camera. Just a basic rooted idea of, you know, just chance and faith and whatnot. I don't know. I just don't know how to take it. Okay, with the double, I gotta give the spoiler. The movie essentially ends with the main love interest both committing suicide and both saving each other from it, and then that's like, yay, they're riding off together. Ooh, yeah, that personal experience, man. Like, I don't know, that really kind of made me a little uncomfortable. You know, again, I'm sure the director kind of has his intentions, and again, I'm sure Dostoevsky very much, that's a subtext in the novel, so I went back and read Dostoevsky, maybe I'd like understand it a bit better. But I mean, I don't know. It's like, ooh, to me, whenever you take suicide lightly as a subject at all, it's mm-mm-mm. You know, it's just one of those personal things with me. Like, if you saw my Jew Wario video, you saw how much, like, I wasn't even a fan of Jew Wario, man. That's just the idea of it all, you know. So, and it's stuff I struggle with too. So, I don't know. This movie got to me, man. It really did. But I didn't like it as much as I liked Enemy, which is the weird thing, because it's like you think, I don't know, The Double definitely affected me on like a personal level, like, holy shit, you know. Oh, and I should really talk in The Double about Eisenberg's other personality, which, so basically the main character you're following, who is just the socially anxious, just like, oh my god, he wants to throw up every time he's on screen. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. Like, this kid is just like a miserable human being. I mean, and ooh, that's why I think he can pull off Luther, man. That's why I think he can pull off Luther. I'm feeling this kid is Luther. But anyways, the other part of his personality, and this is a little more vague than it is an Enemy, but I'll get into it. But okay, fuck it. There's gonna be spoilers. There's no way to not spoil some stuff here. So basically, this guy, you know, Eisenberg 2.0, comes into the data processing office, which I might say is very alarming, because that's actually the field I'm trying to get into right now, is data processing. So this movie is like, here, look at the miserable shit you're going to experience. Oh my god, isn't it going to be just degrading? Yeah. Love it when movies just reflect real life like that and just make you feel like, oh my god, what am I doing? Okay, but anyways, so yeah, so the main Eisenberg character is Simon James, and then along comes James Simon. Yeah, they just reversed the first name and last name, so it's like, clever movie. Now, first of all, Wallace Shawn is just enamored by this guy, and he's just like, he's always calling Simon Stanley, like, Stanley, why can't you be more like James here? Why, I never see you do anything. Don't mistake my kindness for, I don't know. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. I could just quote Wallace Shawn this whole podcast. I really could. But, oh boy. So, James definitely turns out to be pretty big prick throughout the movie, and oh man, it gets pretty metaphorical through the last act or so, because it's just like literally Eisenberg is just getting wiped out of existence as this guy is just taking his place more and more. It starts with basically, it's a pretty cool build-up, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be a fun movie to kind of go back and sort of rewatch and see if I can pick up on some of these cues. But the build-up is essentially, it basically starts where James kind of suckers in Simon into just sort of being his confidant in the workplace, and sort of just covering for him all the time and doing tests for him and whatnot, and basically starting to take advantage of him. He helps him out with the situation with the girl. The girl's name is Hannah, if I haven't mentioned that yet. You know, but then, of course, and I'm sure this is something that every nerd on the face of the planet has experienced, especially those with rather, whoa, excuse me, especially those with rather, you know, antisocial personalities. The whole, oh, well, I would go out with you, but there's this other guy who's like 1,000 times more interesting and charming and has, you know, and has a good personality. I don't know. I'm getting really personal with this shit. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be, but oh boy. So basically, just the things that this guy does. It's like, you know, he basically just, first of all, he steals his apartment. He steals his job. It's like, he essentially moves in and just like overtakes his whole life, and there's just nothing that the real Eisenberg can do about it, and it's just crazy. And okay, so there's one thing at the very end that kind of left me like, what the hell's going on? Because this whole thing, I was kind of more like, okay, you know, like, I don't know. Because with these double people things, you always kind of got to wonder if they're in the person's head or not. I genuinely didn't think that was the case in the double until I realized at the very end that both of the Eisenbergs had the knife mark on their neck. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything more than that, but that was when I realized, like, holy crap, this could be the same person. And then, I don't know, it kind of got all Fight Club-y at the end, maybe. Like, maybe was that the point where Eisenberg commits suicide, and by committing suicide, he defeats the evil persona of himself and is thus able to live happily ever after with Hannah, who also committed suicide the same night, and basically then told him, oh my god, it's a bleak-ass movie, you see what I mean? And it's presented in kind of a light, colorful way, like it, you know, like the set pieces kind of remind me of her, the music and the colors kind of remind me of Punch Drunk Love, and definitely the social satire and the factory sort of atmosphere to it kind of give me a Brazil type vibe, minus all the flying and fantasy, but just definitely like the, you know, just kind of the steampunk element that Brazil had. I don't know, it's a very interesting, very like just uniquely designed and uniquely put together. So Richard Ayoade, I mean, it's not my favorite movie. I'd probably give it like maybe a 7.5 out of 10. But Ayoade is definitely on my radar in the future to, you know, we'll see how his style progresses. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say I do like Enemy more as a film. I mean, I think this is going to be, like, I'm going to be hard-pressed to leave this off of my top 5 of the year. I don't know, you know, it's like, the year just started, you know, we already have X-Men, which, spoiler alert, I love X-Men. I will talk about that with Blue Dragon 5, probably tomorrow. And, so it's like, we already have a lot of good stuff, but Enemy, I don't know, it's got to at least be in my top 10, man, because this thing is just fantastic. And the thing I love about Enemy is that while the double kind of like has this hodgepodge of different styles that it's going for, like sometimes it's trying to be Kubrick, sometimes it's trying to be Gilliam, other times it's just straight up Richard Ayoade trying to be wacky Richard Ayoade. You know, and it's just like, I don't know, like I said, there's just that tone shift in the movie, especially the way they treated, like, dark-ass issues like suicide with, I don't know, it's, I really can't get past that, man. It's, oh, God, it's hard to, I don't know, it's hard to be objectional about something like that, but this movie, Enemy, Jake Gyllenhaal, I mean, this is like just the sheer definition of like a Hitchcockian style movie that you've got to see more than once. I mean, there's already plenty of fan theories going around about the ending and whatnot, so I won't get into it too much. Essentially, is he two people or is he not two people? I don't know, man. I don't necessarily think that the director wants you to know. That's the thing. I mean, that's kind of what I like about open endings in general. I talked about that in my top 10 or, I mean, top 15 film endings list. You know, it's like, with the ending of Enemy, it's like, whoa. Sorry about that. It's like, one thing is definitely clear. Jake Gyllenhaal has kind of just reached a point of depressed submission, I think is a good way to phrase it, with the relationship he has with his wife. And again, I'm not giving away any other bits of that ending but that. You'll have to work your way around what it all means, but holy crap. I mean, Enemy, it's just shot and paced. I mean, it's deliberately slow-paced. Like, it's very methodical, you know what I mean? It's like every little scene kind of adds onto itself, and it's like you can tell, like, okay, so we're getting this detail, so that thing must relate to that thing, and okay, we have to connect that. character to that character, and oh, we saw that guy in the opening scene, and now he's talking to Gyllenhaal, so whatever he's saying now must be important. And again, it all ties in, and I find it kind of masterful that way. It's like a Rubik's Cube of a movie, and I think it does that better than Prisoners does. Like, I think Prisoners was definitely the more mainstream of these two. This just kind of just goes for this very gritty, very, just, I don't know. I mean, just the way it's shot and the filters and everything, it's just so interesting. It's just the look of it. And Toronto just looks like Toronto is a character unto itself in this movie. There's just like so many like flying overhead shots of buildings and stuff like that. It just really gives everything, like, it's a pretty compact story, but everything in it feels epic. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. It's just like, it's basically this guy just losing his mind, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this other person who may or may not be him. And it's just, oh man. And let's see. Sarah Gadon has a really good performance as the actor's wife, Helen, who is pregnant. She is just like, you can tell she's kind of been through this shit before. Like, it's made apparent very early on in a line where she's like, what's happening? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then she's just like crying, and she's like, I think you know. And that line's in the trailer and everything, so I think that is one of the most telling lines in the movie, because it's like, I don't know, to me it's like this dude is like probably straight up schizophrenic or something like that, like, or just multiple personality disorder or anything like that, because it just gets to a point where just the clues throughout the movie, it's really like a Sixth Sense style movie where you have to like watch and pay attention and like immaculately, like, because oh man, there's so many details, there's just so many little things. Like, every time that the wife calls every time that the wife calls the phone, oh god, you never see the two. I can't even explain it, man. It's just, there's layers upon layers upon layers of subtext going on. And like I said, spider imagery up the wazoo, which is pretty terrifying unto itself. We got Isabella Rossellini as Adam's mother, who provides a pretty good role. She's just, oddly enough, throughout the whole movie, we're kind of getting missed calls from Adam's mother, which I think is just kind of meant to symbolize and sort of push along the idea that this guy is just not quite all there in the head, as indicated by the devil horns. I don't know, the thing is, Adam doesn't really necessarily do anything evil in this movie per se. I mean, unless you qualify cheating on your pregnant wife as pure evil, which, arguable, but yeah, it's just like, I don't know, to be honest with you, I'm not entirely a big fan of the actual title, The Enemy, or Enemy. I don't know, it's like, the actual book it's based on was called The Double. I think that would have actually been a good title. And oddly enough, I think the title Enemy would work better for the Richard Ayoade film The Double. Because in that one, the doppelganger Eisenberg is straight up like the enemy. In this one, it's just, yeah, the whole doppelganger situation is fucking with Jake Gyllenhaal, but really he's kind of the enemy to himself, which I guess it's like, ooh, that's the point. Ooh. But I don't know, to me, but what am I bitching about? I mean, to tell you the truth, they're both really good movies. They both take on an interesting and engaging subject matter in entirely different ways. Like, Enemy is just really deliberate, really just, packed to the bone with detail, and just, you gotta pay attention to it, just Hitchcockian kind of mindfuckery going on, like, all over that movie, and it's just kind of masterful. It feels like early Shyamalan in a way, and I mean that as a compliment. I genuinely mean that as a compliment. Oh, God. The name Shyamalan has been dragged through the mud just so much. So let's see. Anything else I need to address? With the double, like I said, you're getting a completely different kind of movie. You're getting a movie that, at the same time, is more whimsical and almost more depressing than Enemy. Because with Enemy, it's like I said, it basically comes down to just solemn acceptance. But with the double, it's just like there's all these really super bleak tones about like loss of identity and just like and about how being an atypical personality versus 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 someone who's like a recluse. Some terrifying shit, man. Like like freaking George Orwell 1985 style, like like what's your overall grand place in the company, what's your worth, like just constantly being tested. I don't know. It's pretty horrifying in some spots, but in other spots it's absolutely hilarious. It's weird. And it's the kind of weird that only a guy who worked on something like The Mighty Boosh could come up with. So, but man, I don't want you going into that thinking like it's going to be like Mighty Boosh, because it's just, oh, it is its own thing, and it is dark and twisted and sketchy, and oh, it'll make you feel ever so uncomfortable, but also kind of love it. I don't know. Like I said, it's like Eisenberg plays these two opposites, you know what I mean? These two, like, the one who's just absolutely like he can't take a breath around other people, and the one who's like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna converse with you, and I'm gonna converse with you. Hey, what's up, Boone? What's up? Oh, hey, Tommy, oh yeah, hey, yeah, woo, Norman Bates, yeah, Norman Bates is in the house, woo, and we got Philip Seymour Hoffman up there. Oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna stop now. But you see what I mean? The difference between social recluse and social butterflies. And it's something that's haunted me my whole life, and it is something that haunts Jesse Eisenberg's character in this movie. And Eisenberg, oh boy, I can very much relate to you. How I can relate to you, man. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's about all I got for these two movies. I just really wanted to kind of review them back to back, and like I said, I definitely prefer Enemy over the double, but I think they're both definitely worthwhile. I think it is cool how we got these two movies that are essentially kind of the same plot, but based on different source material that both have the same title, and they end up just being drastically different in style and tone, but still kind of both sort of warp and fuck with your head in various unique ways. So so if you're looking for that type of movie, like if you're looking for a movie that's just going to make you go like, okay, like what the hell did I just watch? I need to watch that again. And granted, I know, like not everyone likes movies like that, but I most certainly do. So if you're like me, if you're like evil, bearded, devil horn tiki, yeah, go see The Enemy and The Double, and let me know what you think. And all right, so that'll just about do it for the Main Street Cinema, and we'll be back hopefully tomorrow with Blue Dragon 5 to talk X-Men Days of Future Past. Spoiler alert. Was amazing. All right, good night, everyone. Full double horns. Ooh.